Greetings and welcome to another edition of Top 10 Worst of Lists. The best of Worst of Lists is recognized in the 2023 edition of Top 10 Worst Lists Quarterly as being the finest, most prestigious, and evocative Top 10 Worst of Lists in North America. Also, a multiple recipient of the Triple Sapphire Award from the Top 10 Worst of List Council of Elders for excellence in Top 10 Worst of List achievements. The accolades speak for themselves. The competition has been measured and found wanting. Top 10 Worst of Lists is the finest and Top 10 Worst ofs, on God's green earth. I'm your host for today's Top 10 Worst of Lists. Like it or not, my name is Bob Four Apples, and what an incredible journey we're about to embark upon together. This could be one of the finest experiences of your entire life. You don't know, you can't prove it, you have no idea what I've got in store for you. But why not let me clue you in with just a little bit of a teaser here with the title of today's Top 10 and subject matter of today's Top 10 Worst of List. It's Top 10 Worst Things to Do at Weddings. And this is, again, I think we deserve some kudos over here for finding another topic with such universal applications to pretty much everybody's lives. Coming up with a newest movie from Steven Spielberg. It's Turn Off Your Brain, Be a Dumbass, and Suck on a Tailpipe. So I can't wait to see that one. Well, I'm going to take a head count of how many people of color that Steven Spielberg has not used as actors in main roles in this movie. It's almost like the Sesame Street factor, where you can go to a Steven Spielberg movie, count up the people of color that he uses for main actors. This is my reenactment of me doing that in a Steven Spielberg movie. Okay, we're looking for, waiting on one, movie's over. Zippo! And from the 1970s, tennis, back when tennis was the hottest sport in the land, a document movie that shows the immortal duo between John McEnroe and his biggest rival, Bjorn Borg. It's A Star is Bjorn, where John McEnroe gets to, partying too much and too much aggressive anger as Bjorn Borg comes in to supplant him as the number one rated tennis player in the nation. It's 1978. And everybody's doing just the dumbest shiznots you've ever seen and heard of in your entire life, like watching tennis matches. Dink, patunk, patink, patunk. 5 hours later, patink, patunk. Match Borg. It stars Bjorn. Ooh. And coming up with a new sequel on the Fox network, designed specifically to help sheep feel like a part of the crowd. It's, what the hell? What's going on? Sons of bitches. They finally got me. It's that 2070 show. Predicting how people are going to be in 2070 combined with a TV show. From the producers of that 70s show, and isn't life grand? Have people watching a show starring Keeping Up with the Kardashians 3D holographic replicas. News programs that define all hardcore right-wingers as heroes. It's that 2070 show. And here's a plaything for the kiddies. It's Mr. Dictator Head. Have pictures of Trump and Bush Sr. and Nixon and Hitler and Chairman Mao and all the others make fake stashes out of wax. It's Mr. Dictator Head. I don't know what the hell. A tribute to perhaps the greatest and yet most vanilla musical composers of the 20th century It's Mr. Rogers and Hammerstein doing musicals on Broadway that are all bangers, no duff, all rock, no duff musicals back in the 50s and stuff. And, stuff about cardigan sweaters and lands of make-believe and Oklahoma. It's Mr. Rogers and Hammerstein. It's Mr. Rogers to you, punk. And My Cousin Cheney from the producers of the movie My Cousin Vinny. Now comes the comedy smash of the year, My Cousin Cheney. Just like the original movie, this sequel features the story of a couple of kids who get into trouble by being falsely accused of a war crime they did not commit, and their cousin's attempts to pitch in and help, except this time the crime the kids are accused of is being enemy combatants, and their cousin is none other than Reichsfuhrer, Obergruppenführer Dick Cheney, who doesn't try to help the kids. He's helping the government incarcerate and torture them for as long as possible without bringing any charges against them while held in a secret torture camp throughout the world in a black site prison in violation of every treaty, human rights obligation, and the rule of warfare in the history of modern civilization. Here's a tip. Those not watching this movie by covert imperial edict will be immediately added to the FBI's list of domestic persons of interest and will be subjected to red flags and clandestine information and a slow down of their distribution of their ideas and thoughts. Even cute cat photos won't be viewed or seen by any more than 3 people at any given time. Investigations of your life and possibly targeted for a COINTELPRO style op where family members get peculiar diseases or plane crashes and stuff, and simple things go unexpectedly haywire. So make your way down to a local multiplexing indoctrination center and see this wonderful movie. Come for the popcorn, stay for the electrocuted nutsacks. That sort of whole commercial and movie seems like tomfoolery. The only movies that I see them making about Dick Cheney is making him look like a human being, and so family oriented. Oh yes, I have heart attacks like crazy, one after the other, and I still got to show up to work. God damn it! A bunch of movies making ultra right wing monsters look like heroic human beings. Cheney, or what's it called, Vice, and Reagan, and now another Reagan movie with him in Reykjavik with Gorbachev, making him look like not just a hero but like a god and stuff. I mean, the ultra right wing media is in full effect now. They're not even disguising it anymore. Kill Tony gets his own series, and he's the stupidest, unfunniest, uncomfortable in his own skin jerkoff in all history. Why not come out to the alternate in entertainment conventions? It's from the people who brought you the Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, now bring you the Necro Comic-Con, featuring the Comic-Con of the Dead. It's Necro Comic-Con. And then well, that's all I got. All right, the new Bond film Platypussy, actually for Bond aficionados, the platypus has dangerous barbs and poisonous as well at the ends of the back feet that are venomous. And seeing as Ian Fleming was British, he might have had the Australian mammal in mind when he designed the weapon of choice from Russia with Love's diabolical villainess, Rosa Klebb, and her infamous retractable poison shoe blade. Watch out, Rosa! Watch out, Bond! Rosa Klebb's got a poisonous shoe blade. It's Platypussy. Coming to blah, blah, blah. We've heard it all before. All right, let's get on with today's list. Today's list is so incredibly intense and beautiful and perfect in every way, and lovable and huggable and squeezable. And I want to love it and be there for it in its times of trouble and need. Top 10 worst things to do at a wedding. Get over yourself. Number 10. Start a death pool betting game where the wedding guests can bet on whether the bride or the groom shall be the first to die. That's the thing that you like to hear is going on at your wedding. come here, Mr. Groom. I don't want to be the one to tell you I'm just a photographer here and stuff like that, so it's maybe not my place, but I just wanted to let you know that all your guests are starting a death pool as to whether you or your bride will be the first one to die. And the husband would be like, I know, I started the death pool. I got $5 on her. Yeah. Number 9, the top 10 worst things to do at a wedding. Order a pizza and have it delivered to your table at the reception. Everybody's getting the fish or the chicken. Like, how did you get the... And then the pizza guy shows up and you're like, screw this freaking fish. He's trying to give us food poisoning over here. Goddamn symmetrical hair. It's almost a near impossibility for me in this humidity. Number 8 of the top 10 worst things to do at a wedding. Kill off their family pet and have someone deliver the news right as the couple is taking the floor for their first dance together. Mrs. Bride and Groom, look, I know I'm the photographer here and I probably shouldn't be horning on your business, but I just heard somebody talking and they said that they kidnapped your family pet and killed it. And they're like, and like that. Now that's something that you should never do at a wedding. You know, one of the things that you should never do at a wedding is play that freaking, I forget which one it is, if it's Here Comes the Bride or if it's Dead. One of those things is composed by Richard Wagner. So, like, most of the people who have, like, these weddings, these stupid hipster wannabe jerkoffs, will be, like, walking down the aisle or walking down, one direction or the other to the strains of a Richard Wagner song. And that guy was the most hateful, spiteful, misanthropist in history. He's actually inspired Hitler, a guy who inspired Hitler, and this is the most romantic moment. Some people even consider sacred moment of people's lives. And you're walking down the aisle to that guy's music? Well, the other one's by Mendelssohn. So it's like, it happens to be a Jewish guy. So one of the themes walking up is a Nazi guy, and the other one walking back, or the other way around, I don't remember which, is written by a Jewish guy. It's weird stuff. And what's weird is the fact that most people in today's modern day America would hate the Jewish thing more than the Nazi thing. You mean I'm walking down the aisle to a song written by a dirty Jew? Oh, God, I've lost my alt-left membership card. The alt-left. On the alt-left. You let me down. I did everything I could to help the alt-left all throughout my life. Now I'm totally, nonplussed at best. 2.5 stars. Alt-left gets 2.5 stars. On a rating of 4. I mean, they're still sticking up for a lot of oppressed minorities and people who, deserve to be harassed and brutalized no more, ever. Just for things that are impulsive. Just being true to yourself is reason for somebody to come beat your ass. The color of your skin's a reason to beat somebody's ass. What, are you kidding me? And yet there it is. So, I mean, there's a lot of courage there. There's a lot of... But they're not doing themselves any favors. And the mainstream media is just helping everybody get more hateful and stuff like that. So it's a real goddamn shame. Anyway, I digress. Number 7 of the top 10 worst things to do at a wedding. Secretly invite their exes and or personal enemies to the ceremony. Which, you're like walking down the aisle and you get them a corner seat during, while they're walking down the aisle. So they, Here Comes the Bride and stuff like that. And they're walking up and then you have the ex right on the aisle. And then as they're right about to pass you, you turn and go like this. You have the ex go like, Yeah, it was something really, really crazy. And then the bride sees him and goes like, and hilarity ensues. I mean, because that is like the ultimate burn. Like, oh, your crazy psycho ex. I brought them to your wedding ceremony, and they're staring you down as you're walking down the aisle. It's like, that's nasty stuff. Line item number 7 of today's top 10 worst things to do at a wedding is a part sponsored by Necrophiladelphia. Antonio Banderas continues to date Tom Hanks after he croaks. It's Necrophiladelphia. Necrophiladelphia. Catch the flavor wave. All right, we're now returning to top 10 worst of list. Number 6 of the top 10 worst things to do at a wedding. And this one is one of my personal favorites on the list. Excuse me. Shoot a poison-tipped dart into one of the married couple's siblings that gives them an aggressive form of Ebola. So it's like, do it at the party where a lot of people are like intermingling with each other and dancing and stuff up close. And you nail them with the poison-tipped dart and they just like I'm feeling death. And then they start to bleed out of their eyes. And everybody surrounding them is like, oh my God, it's Ebola. And like, so, and the next day, people are, where do you go for your honeymoon? Well, we were going to go to Maui, but, instead with all the Ebola around, we thought we'd go to the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta. So romantic. Number 5 for the top 10 worst things to do at weddings. Kidnap the father of the bride and show the hostage video right when they start playing Here Comes the Bride. So they start walking down, and then you have somebody rolling one of those TV audiovisual carts that they've got in like high schools and stuff like that, and they put it into an old VHS tape, and you slide it in there, and it's a kidnap video of the father of the bride going like, honey, I've been kidnapped. I'm being held hostage. You need to pull out 90% of your assets, including your 401k, and put them in a satchel and drop it off at the bus depot downtown. And make sure that there's no police, just you by yourself, and all the good stuff, And everybody at the wedding party is like going like, is this some kind of weird joke or something? And then the bride's mother starts crying and going hysterical. And she's, not again, no, not now. Everybody's looking around like, oh, this has got to be like Candid Camera or something. And everybody else is like, the hell's Candid Camera? And like, it's like, I don't know. It's like TikTok-ish types of antics of hidden cameras. And then they start talking about old school TV. And the bride's mother is now foaming at the mouth, completely catatonic. And then you unleash the rabid dogs. And, dingoes. Get to pack a wild pack of dingoes going. And they lock the doors so no one can escape. And then just the wedding party has to duke it out with the rabid dogs and pack of dingoes. And just, the next morning you come in and let them all loose and see who survived. That's my idea of romance. All right. I mean, you can imagine the heroic, antics that could be perpetrated. That people could be saving each other's lives. I mean, there's something to be said for an approach like that. Everybody's, all caught up with the same sort of prosaic applications of warm feelings, attractions, compatibility as being the gateways to, something that resembles true love or the delusional victim's ideal sort of imagined identity of true love in their minds. But maybe it's about defending somebody when your lives are at stake that really is the best gateway to creating true love. Like, because let's say, it's a guy defending a girl, so we can keep this real uh, um, emblematic, symbolically, uh, Hollywood style experience that comes into play in so many weddings and identity of love and true romance and happily ever afters and all that stuff that Hollywood has embedded within us to destroy our well-being. And you got so like the guy gets a hold of like the bishop's staff or the holy man's scepter, whatever, and he's got the scepter, and the attack dogs are foaming and attacking him, and you're not going to start defending some old dude with wrinkly ball sacks dripping out of the bottom of their Bermuda shorts. You're going to go for the hot chick and protect the hot chick or hot guy or whatever it is. That's the way it's going to be. And so you're focusing on that, and the guy saves that's true love right there. That's going to be a love that lasts forever, much more than if you just sort of, go on a date and you kind of hit it off a little bit, and then you screw around a little, and he's got a huge honker in his trousers, and and so you're like, okay, well, this is the one, I guess, and you just sleepwalk your way through life, but saving someone from imminent death, that's a bond. That's a life bond. Maybe maybe that should be like speed dating, the new version of speed dating, where instead of having a quickie conversation, something like that, you put them in a life-threatening situation and see how they pair up. You saved my life. And then they fall in love forever, and it's just a beautiful thing. I mean, 60% of the people that go wind up dying or getting maimed beyond recognition. But that's the price that you got to pay. I mean, that's a better ratio than marriages. Well, close. Let's say 40% of them die or get maimed beyond recognition or have to be put down for a variety of reasons, Ebolas and such. So if it was a 40% at speed dating version where your life is in danger, threatened by, release some ravenous tigers that haven't been fed in a week in the middle of the speed dating bar or whatever you're doing it at, and 40% of them die, and the other 60% of them have a life bond because one of them saved the other from imminent death. And that's a pretty good ratio. That's better than most marriages at 50% divorce rates. Imminent death, a version of speed dating. I'm going to patent that and see. I'm going to give it a try. And again, look, if making a connection with people, if that's what it takes, I think it's worth it. And look, I mean, most of the people are just jagoffs and don't, really, I mean, it's not that they don't deserve to live, but nobody would miss them if they weren't living. Let's be honest. Save a lot of space, decrease the stress on the climate changes in the world and stuff. I'm Team Thanos all of a sudden. I think that Thanos just had it wrong. He was just he was, his forward-facing agenda was all about the killing. And, to a certain extent, the saving part of it took a backseat agenda-wise in the way everybody was spinning it. But if you turn it into life-threatening speed dating and unleash tigers in all of the singles bars throughout the world, all the worlds throughout the galaxy, and 40% of the people die, all of a sudden you're like, wow, now that's entrepreneurial. And he's making money at it, and Thanos is like, like the new Richard Simmons, what was that, Dream Maker show that he had? It's Richard Simmons' Dream Maker. We're gonna start. We're gonna make some people's dreams come true. I love that show. Making people's dreams come true. That's Thanos. I'm Thanos to make people's dreams come true. And it's like, love connection. Like you spin it with a whole, like, Bachelor, The Bachelor / what other shows they got like The Bachelor? I don't know. I think Bachelor's it. It's like The Bachelor with Thanos. And ladies and gentlemen, here we go. The Bachelor starring Thanos. Hi, how you doing today, I'm Thanos? We're gonna unleash. We get 4 different singles bars that we're going to be releasing wild animals and toxic darts throughout the club in an effort to try to make some life bonds. Here we go. It's club number 1. And just like, again, look, something exotic. Like, I don't know, a bunch of platypuses with their back heel poison barbs at the ready. And these platypuses are running around, and then they start to get shooed on one side. You unleash all the platypuses from one side of the bar, and people start, kind of running away from them. Some of them get, barbed up and poisoned right off the get-go. Some of them make it to the other side of the bar, where, lo and behold, they have crocodiles and unfed crocodiles and like Ted Bundy waiting on the other side. And so, like a lot of people are going to get wasted a la Thanos, right? But the overall is like the 60% who survive who are now mated for life. And people go around, people claim to want to happily ever after, but will they go out and do a death speed dating service for others to help them create really, truly permanent life bonds through saving their lives from imminent violent death? No, they won't go to that. That's Hollywood right there for you. The damage that they've done to our brains. We have all these happily ever Cinderella complexes and stuff of like someday my prince will come. There's not gonna be any prince coming. You stupid jerk, you white bread nobody, flat chested goof. Where was I? Am I still doing top 10 worst hubs? All right, number 4 of the top 10 worst things to do at a wedding. Yeah, that's right. Sneak peanut oil into all the kids' meals at the reception. Yeah, you're bound to get an allergen hit from at least 1-2 of them. That's not a great thing to do at a wedding. But again, creating tragedy brings people together. And in some respects, is actually kind of romantic. How was your wedding? Oh, well, it was a little bit crazy there for a minute when a couple of the kids started to go into anaphylactic shock at the reception because somebody snuck there's inadvertent addition of peanut oil and they were allergic, but we managed to get enough EpiPens to save their lives right at the brink of immediate imminent death. I was about to poke a big pen into one of their throats to create an air pathway, impromptu trach job. Somebody showed up with the second EpiPen right at the nick of time. And the people telling the story to would be like, oh, that is so romantic. You saved a life at your wedding. And people be like, I know, we created a life bond. Number 3 of the top 10 worst things to do at a wedding. Quietly spread around that you're offering a $5,000 bounty for the groomsman that bangs the most bridesmaids. Now that, again, romance. And don't tell me that the artifice of having a $5,000 bounty, the money changes everything type of Cyndi Lauper song mentality. It's not a philosophy. It's just a cheap way of cashing in on people, like virtue signaling and stuff. Offering a bounty like this, it's creating love, opportunities for love, deep and affectionate bawling can happen at a wedding party because you're all, drugged out and feelings of commodified love in the air everywhere. And you're like, oh my God, I need to screw whatever moves at this point. And so there's screwing everywhere going on. All the bathrooms are occupied, all the bathroom stalls. Whack, 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 and so on and so forth. It's just like complete nonsense. Craziness. It's unhinged amounts of screwing going on at the wedding. And all like in an effort to get $5,000 at the end of it. It's all, it's horseshoes and hand grenades in life ordinarily. You got to be able to even the odds for people. You can't just sit back and wait for life to come to you. Sometimes you got to put a $5,000 bounty on it. And it's going to work. People looking for $5,000 and you get laid. Super. Number 2, the top 10 worst things to do at a wedding. Have the FDA test all the food to be served for any biohazards, thereby assuring that everyone shall get an aggressive food poisoning. That's right, the FDA's on the job. Major league cutbacks. We only got one person left to test all the food, 350 million people. It's going to work. And you start to eliminate red dye number 2. Everything's going to be fantastic. Don't worry about toxic mercury in the fish. Don't worry about, runoff and pig farms. And the product recalls are happening every hour, basically. Don't worry about any of that stuff. We got to take care of it because we stopped red dye number 2. They're taking away the brown M&Ms. It's madness. And that's supposed to solve all our health problems. Great. Wonderful. Yes. Sign me up. All right. So top 10 worst things to do at a wedding. Here's the number 1. Worst thing to do at a wedding. Switch the designer labels on the wedding dress so that the bride doesn't know that you've replaced it with something from the Martha Stewart Living Collection. Oh. All right, well, anyway, what a tremendous time I've had here presenting you this list. It's clearly, divine in nature. It's not just a list that, sort of casually put together by a team of former horse jockeys and door-to-door salesmen gathering together outside of the Stuckies on Route 87, taking copious doses of amyl nitrate mixed with lavender-scented Glade pop-ins in order to be able to come up with these lists. This is divine, a divinely inspired imbuement of a tremendous level of cognizance mixed with empowerment. So tuning in tomorrow for another edition of Top 10 Worst of Lists, if I live long enough to be able to do it. And when we present Top 10 Worst Times to Ask Dad for an Advance on Your Inheritance. And thanks so much for tuning in today. What a pleasure. And don't forget, we've got a charity functions coming